The U.S. top court has temporarily blocked the Trump government's deportation of Venezuelan men, citing concerns over lack of judicial review. The lawyers for the American Civil Liberties Union argue that the government is using a 1798 wartime law to deport individuals without a fair chance to challenge it. This has raised questions about defying court orders and the risk of a constitutional crisis.
The Trump administration's efforts to crack down on unauthorized immigrants were paused on Saturday when the Supreme Court ordered a temporary halt to the deportation of Venezuelan men in immigration custody. The decision followed claims from their lawyers that the men faced imminent removal without the judicial review. Lawyers for the American Civil Liberties Union had filed urgent requests in multiple courts, including the Supreme Court, after reports emerged that some of the men had already been loaded onto buses for deportation. The ACLU argued the administration was using a 1798 law typically reserved for wartime to remove them without a fair opportunity to challenge their deportation as mandated by the court. The Alien Enemies Act authorizes the president to detain, relocate, or deport non citizens from a country deemed hostile to the US during wartime. Trump invoked the 1798 law in an attempt to swiftly deport accused members of the Tren de Aragua, a violent gang originating from Venezuelan prisons that his administration classifies as a terrorist group. On March 15, the Trump administration deported more than 130 alleged gang members to El Salvador. However, many of the migrants' lawyers and families insist they were not gang members and were given no chance to contest the government's claims. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the Supreme Court's decision. However, on Thursday, President Trump questioned whether judges have the authority to block his deportation efforts after a Washington based judge ruled that officials could face criminal contempt for ignoring an earlier court order to return deported Venezuelans.
Well, I'm not involved in it. I'm going to respond by saying you'll have to speak to the lawyers, the DOJ. I've heard many things about him, and we'll have to find out what the truth is. But I will say this, we were inundated by millions of people, many millions of people during the Biden administration. They say 21 million. And a big percentage of those are criminals, serious criminals.
The case now risks triggering a serious clash between the executive and judicial branches, potentially escalating into a full-blown constitutional crisis. Bureau Report, TD India.